we wanted to recite Salawatul Taj. Salawatul Taj was written and by Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Bakr bin Salim. From my understanding, he was the grandfather, the great-grandfather of Habibullah. Grandfather was great-grandfather.
Number of names that
This comes from the Habaib. In the Indo-Pak continent, is known as Darud Taj. And most of the people from Pakistan and India, they think that Darud Taj originated in Pakistan and India, but it didn't. This is one of the gifts from Habaib. And in this Salawatul Taj, Habib Abu Bakr bin Salam, he defends Al-Karim from the slanders and the lies of those people who castigated him in his character, from amongst the Muslims, or from amongst those who said they were Muslims. And he mentions specific beliefs about Al-Karim. So I want to recite it. There is a shadow on it I'm working on, but I don't want to get into that, but just the recitation itself. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة وسلاما عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا خير خلق الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد صاحب التاج والمعراج والبراق والعلم دافع البلاء والوباء والقهط والمرض والألم اسمه مكتوب مرفوع مشفوع منقوش في لوح والقلم سيد العرب والعجب جسمه مقدس موطر مطهر منور في البيت والحرم شمس الضحى بدر الدجى صدر العلا نور الهدى كهف الورى مصباح الظلم جميل الشيم شفيع الأمم صاحب الجود والكرم والله عاصمه وجبريل قادمه والبراق مركبه والمعراج سبره وسدرة المنتهى مقامه وقاب قوسين مطلوبه والمقصود موجوده سيد المرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين عنيس الغريبين رحمة للعالمين راحة العاشقين مراد المشتاقين شمس العارفين سراج السالكين مصباح المقربين محب الفقراء والغرباء والمساكين سيد الثقلين نبي الحرمين إمام القبلتين وسيلتنا في الدارين صاحب قاب قوسين محبوب رب المشرقين ورب المغربين جد الحسن والحسين مولانا ومولى الثقلين أبي قاسم محمد بن عبد الله نور من نور الله يا أيها المشتاقون بنور جماله صلوا عليه وآله وأصحابه صلوا عليه وآله وأصحابه وسلموا تسليما محمد بن عبد الله نور من نور الله يا أيها المشتاقون بنور جماله بلغ الأولى بكماله كشف الدجى بجماله حسنت جميع خصاله صلوا عليه وآله وأصحابه صلوا عليه وآله وأصحابه وسلموا تسليما أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. Just one thing about this. My son, Mr. Bahuddin, he's 27 now. He was a very small child and he was full of fever. Fever was so high we didn't know what to do. So I called Sheikh Sayyid Mubarak al-Shazilani. He said, have recite Salatul Tayar, the Durood charge over him and blow it. I recited and the fever broke right away. So this is not something that is just something you recite, but there are fadilas of the Salatul Tayar and they are endless. So this is something that's been tried and tested and is known to have an effect on you.
Assalamu alaikum. How is everyone doing? Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, our bodies are tired, but our hearts are doing well. If we don't feel it now, inshallah, it will come. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'ina lahum bi ihsanin ila yawm al-din wa alayna ma'ahum wa fihim bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. We ask that these prayers and peace that we've requested from Allah upon the Prophet, his family, companions, and those who follow them in goodness until the day of judgment, that they be upon us, with them and among them. And we ask you that, O Allah, by your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful, ya arhamar rahimin, ya arhamar rahimin, ya arhamar rahimin. Proceed, we'll renew our intentions with intentions that are instructed by the Imam Abdullah al-Haddad for students when they review sessions of knowledge with one another, as we are doing. We intend to learn and teach. Right? I'm learning and I'm transmitting. You're learning and you're helping me learn. And hopefully you'll transmit to others. So we intend to learn and teach, to remember and remind, to share benefit and gain, mutual benefit and gain. To encourage holding fast to Allah's book and the sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Call to guidance and lead to all and every good, seeking in that Allah's countenance, Allah's pleasure, nearness to Allah and His reward, glorious and sublime as He. We intend what the author, Imam Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, intended, as well as our sheikhs and the pious, and what Allah knows of good intentions, and we ask Allah to aid us in that. Allahumma inna ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Oh Allah, assist us in remembering you, thanking you, and worshiping you well. And what Sheikh Saeed was reciting, that's dhikr, right? When you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, oh Allah, send your prayers upon Muhammad. You've remembered Allah, you've remembered His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you're remembered by Allah, and you mention in the presence of your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is one of your bodily or outward works, right? Because you're doing it with your tongue, right? And that's part of your seen world, right? The organs you have that are from the seen, among them are the tongue. And we talked about, this book is called the 40 Fundamentals. 40 Fundamentals, and you see this in the author's introduction. 10 fundamentals on knowledge. Sheikh Jamaluddin talked to you about that. Knowledge of Allah's attributes. He talked about hearing, he talked about sight. Then there are 10 fundamentals on bodily works. Sheikh Amin dealt with those. One of those dealing with dhikr, being the bodily work of the tongue. And then there are 10 fundamentals on the inward work of purifying your heart from faults, from character flaws, from vice. And inshallah, we will begin to discuss this. And then 10 inward virtues, adorning your heart with virtues, good character, noble qualities. We'll talk about the quality of patience, right? So one of the things we see is that this message combines knowledge and practice, combines the outward and inward. And they're not at odds or in conflict whatsoever. So we just talked about the outward work of dhikr. However, that connects very intimately to the state of your heart. Right? Of the works, perhaps that's the heart. That is the work that connects most intimately with the heart, because the tongue is an interpreter that expresses what exists within the heart. So when you express something good on the tongue, that has a profound effect on the heart. There's elements of you that are like, you could say, nexuses, right? Or connections, passages from the seen to the unseen, or the unseen to the seen. And your tongue is one of those. Your eyes and the ears are one of those as well. Your eyes see things, but they pass to your unseen, and that image is etched in your heart. It's good, it produces a light. If it's bad, it produces a darkness or a trauma, and that may last with someone their whole life, and it's difficult to remove. Right? So we're going to begin talking about the inward. But understand that that's absolutely connected to your outward. Right? And this relates to what we began with. Everybody's tired. Alhamdulillah, we've tired ourselves out in something worthwhile. It's called mujahadatun nafs. Struggling against your own soul. And I bet one of us, walk outside, open Facebook, get a message. If it's about something you have an appetite for, suddenly you will feel energetic. Right? Why? Because your ego is desiring that. You've just forced your nafs to do something that's difficult for it, so it feels fatigued. But making your soul bear the weight of spiritual exertion is a vehicle by which it is purified, and it is part of our tradition. Right? And every prophetic work has this element. So, we apologize, and we'll work from our side on pace, but understand that that is part of the work, right? Is that we strive. We strive, and inshallah, that's one of the reasons they sing. Because singing gives the nafs a little upliftment, right? That's one of the reasons we'll go eat. That's one of the reasons we'll have sweets or tea or coffee. That's even a methodology. And when you do that, every element of your life becomes something assisting you to obey Allah, and thus a vehicle by which you draw near to Him. And you're blessed for it. So we ask Allah to grant us that. So we're moving on to, again, the second half. And this would be the third volume of Imam Al-Ghazali's famous Revival of the Religious Sciences. So we've talked about knowledge, then we talked about practice, and now we're going to talk about inward works, specifically the inward work of purification. And we want to actually read from what Imam Al-Ghazali said. And Sheikh Amin said something, I don't know if everyone caught it, but it was very important. He said, listen to what Imam Al-Ghazali is saying to you. Right? These are the words of a great heir of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a reference which is accurate this morning that our pioneers led us to the book and the sunnah. And how do we understand the sunnah? The sayings of Prophet Muhammad, they are an explanation of the book. Right? The sunnah is an explanation of the book. Aisha radiallahu anha said, his character was the Quran. Meaning that he was the one who demonstrated and personified the Quran, al-Kitab, right? So his sunnah shows us the Quran, how it's practically applied. So then how do we understand the correct positions of the scholars of the community of Muhammad? They are an explanation, a further expansion on the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So what we're going to hear is what? An explanation of the book and the sunnah from one of the heirs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as Imam Malik said, everyone is accurate and at times mistaken except the one in that grave, pointing to the grave of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we, in studying a book by Imam Al-Ghazali, we're not saying to place that by any means to the level of the prophetic sunnah. However, understand that the sunnah tells you to take from the heirs of the prophets, and he said the scholars are the heirs of the prophets. So they are kind of like a step ladder, getting us up to deeper understandings of the sunnah, because they understood it better than we. The sunnah is a step ladder, taking us to deeper understandings of the Quran, and the sunnah is the one the speech and the actions and the acceptance of the one upon whom the Quran was revealed. So he says, القسم الثالث في تزكية القلب عن الأخلاق المذمومة. The third part, purifying the heart from blameworthy characteristics. Or you could say purifying the heart from poor character.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What page?
What page? I'm on page 115. Thank you very much. Yeah, page 115. And I'm going to translate myself sometimes, so it'll be more or less what he's saying, even if the phrase is slightly different than this translator. So Allah says, قال الله تعالى قد أفلح من تزكى. Successful indeed is the one who is purified. The word he's using, aflaha, in your text, it is translated as successful. The word the meaning of this word in the Arabic language is the most comprehensive expression for this worldly and otherworldly happiness and salvation. Arabic is an extremely rich language, and Allah knew where to place His message. Falah is one of the most comprehensive words in the Arabic language, as is the word nasiha. And falah is the most comprehensive expression of sa'ada, which is like happiness. It also entails salvation, this world and the next. So that is what a person has who does what? Purifies their heart. وَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. And surely successful is the one who purifies it. And he says this purification at tazkiyah is cleansing the heart. Right? So tazkiyah is part of the message of Al-Kitab. We don't need any other vocabulary other than what Allah used in His messenger. We're quite comfortable there. Actually, we're more comfortable there. Tazkiyah is part of the message that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ brought to us and to all of humanity. As Sheikh Jamal and Sheikh Amin referenced, someone who's limited to the outward, they are not benefiting from the message in its entirety. This message came to purify us. Right? This discipline, this third section we're studying right here, this is an intimate part of the message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ نَبِيًّا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ. Actually, we want to do the verse of Baqarah. كَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِيكُمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْكُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِنَا وَيُزَكِّيكُمْ. Just as we have sent among you a messenger from among yourselves. What does this messenger do? يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِنَا. He recites to you our verses or our signs. That's from the book, right? وَيُزَكِّيكُمْ. And He purifies you. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. He teaches you the book and He teaches you wisdom. From the meanings of that is beneficial knowledge. From the meanings of that is the sunnah. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. And He teaches you that which you knew not. Right? So the messenger, it wasn't only for him to recite the Quran to us. It wasn't only for him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to teach us the Quran and the rulings of the Quran or the Sunnah, the hikmah. It was also part of his message to purify us. Right? This message, when properly instructed, it purifies the heart, the character, even the body, and the mind of the human being from darkness, among those disbelief, among those polytheism, among those sins, right? Among those, the various habits we have, like substances, theft, crime, what have you. He purifies us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is an essential part of the message. And specifically, purification is of the soul. Right? In the second verse, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Allah uses this in Surah the Sun after He's mentioned the soul and taught it its corruption and its taqwa, or inspired it with that which is corrupt and taqwa. Successful is indeed is the one who purifies it. What? The nafs, the human soul. So understand, you are not just an outward form, you have an inward reality connected to that outward form, and your success and your application of this message entails a combination of both of them. Beyond that, the inward is more important, as Sheikh Sulaiman referenced this morning. There is a piece of flesh in the body. If it is pious, the whole body is pious. If it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. And the Prophet ﷺ said in the Sahih Hadith of Bukhari and Muslim, Allah wa hiya al-qalb. Lo, or surely, no, right? Focus on this. That's what Allah means. Listen up. This is the heart, right? So purification of the heart, enough cannot be said for that. That is an obligation. The messenger continues, or the Imam Al-Ghazali continues, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الطهور شطر الإيمان. This is narrated by Muslim. Purification is half of faith. He said, so then understand that complete faith is by purifying the heart from what Allah, what the divine does not love. Right? And we all know we got plenty in there. If we're honest. That Allah doesn't love. Sheikh Jamal will reference specifically one of those that all of us work on. Envy. Purifying the heart from what Allah doesn't love is half of it. And adorning the heart with what Allah loves, with what God loves, is the other half. Like dealing with patience that Sheikh Amin will address. And then he says, and how would someone cleanse their heart who doesn't know what filth is? So then let us mention reprehensible character, or the reprehensible blameworthy character traits, which are many. However, the branches derived from them are 10 principles, right? So he's getting ready to cover these 10 principles. So what are we talking about here? In this session and Sheikh Jamal's session, we're going to talk about working on our hearts and purifying them. Understand that practically purification precedes adornment. Like if you, this cup right here, I have coffee in it. Were I to leave it sit and the coffee to mold, and it was dirty, until I wanted to drink water from it, when I wanted to drink water from it, I would have to wash it first. Right? So the analogy of that's an analogy of the heart. As long as the heart is full of vice, it can't be adorned with virtue, and in many cases, the virtue is the opposite of that vice. Right? So that's why he addresses purification first. La ilaha illallah. We want to make another point before moving on to this detail specifically of the vice or the blameworthy characteristic of greed. What do we mean when we say the heart? Right? What am I referring to? What was Sheikh Amin referring to when he said the heart? The heart obviously refers to a cone-shaped piece of flesh to the left of the human chest. Right? However, in this context, what is being referred to is a subtle, spiritual element of the human being, which is the faculty within the human being that knows and perceives. This faculty is of lordly origin, meaning that Allah bestowed this upon you and placed it in you. That being described in the Kitab as saying, I breathed into him from the spirit or the soul that was mine. Right? It's not from the unseen, it's not from the seen, it's from the unseen. It is a part of you that knows. It is a part of you by which you are distinguished as a human being from animals. It is the part of you that Allah commands and prohibits. It is the part of you that after you die and your body decomposes, it remains. And you will be resurrected in the form that this heart of yours left this world. If it is beautiful, you'll be beautiful on the Day of Judgment. If it's ugly, you'll be ugly on the Day of Judgment. That's what we mean when we talk about the heart. Your heart has elements that comprise it, or you could say there are features, right? Like my face has features. I have eyes, a nose, a mouth, right? For instance, your heart has features. If we talk about character, what do we mean? We mean the appearance of your heart, just like if we talk about the appearance of your face. Right? So your heart has features. And just by analogy, and they do this for the point of demonstration, So we talk about eyes, ears, or eyes, nose, cheeks, and mouth. 4 elements in the face, right? In the heart, they talk about 4 elements as well. Desire or appetite, which is in Arabic shahwa. Anger or aggression, which is in Arabic ghadab. Right? So you have the appetite and you have anger within you. The strength of reason, aql, or we can translate that as intellect. And then the ability to balance those, which it's called adl, we can translate it as justice or balance. Right? Good character lies in the human being balancing these faculties properly, and poor character lies in the human being allowing them to go to the extreme. So Imam Al-Ghazali, in these 2 sections which follow,